What's going on, everybody? I'm back again today bringing you guys another video, and it's some more He-Man and the Masters of the Universe content. I am thoroughly into He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. It's nuts. I never expected that this was going to be a fandom or an area of nerddom that I was really into. I was briefly into it when I was like 9 or 10 when the 2000X reboot came out, but that didn't last long, and now I'm just like I'm super into it. I'm super into the universe. It's so absurd and crazy and ridiculous, but it's always been that way. From the beginning, it's been absurd and crazy and ridiculous, and it's never tried to justify it. And for that, I almost kind of respect it. I'm kind of like, you're absolutely absurd and ridiculous, but you know it and you embrace it, and you don't try to hide it and you don't try to justify it. You just go, yeah, I'm absolutely ridiculous, and it's the way I am. So I kind of respect it in that way. And today, what we're going to be talking about are some of the comic book series to have come out recently for He-Man and the Masters of the Universe. 2012, DC Comics started publishing a new series of He-Man and the Masters of the Universe comics, and I picked up volumes 1 and volume 3. The reason I did 1 and 3 is because in between these two, volume 2 is just called Origins of Eternia. So this one is a story, and this one is a story, but between the two, they just decided to do like a 6 or 7 issue run that was just origin stories for the characters. And I didn't need the origin stories. If you saw my last video, I've just got done watching the 2000X reboot series of Masters of the Universe, so I'm very familiar with all the characters, where they come from, who they are, what their abilities are, relationships with each other. I know that, so I didn't need the Origins volume, I just want the new stories. And the reason I also picked these is because a lot of people online were saying that this is kind of an unofficial continuation to the 2000X series. Anyone who's ever watched the 2000X series, you know that they were teasing, especially in Season 2, they were teasing the villain Hordak a lot. And the creators of the show have even said that like if they'd gotten a season 3 was going to be Hordak and She-Ra. And that's what this leads into. So volume 1 starts out with just to give you an idea, it starts out with all the main characters, the heroes, they have no memory. They're all just living weird random ass lives on Eternia. Like Adam's just this like farmhand. His father is like just living in this shack with him, and he's like mentally ill and doesn't remember or know what the hell's going on. All the main characters, all the heroes, their minds have been wiped, and they've been replaced with like false memories of fake lives that aren't real. And it's the story of Zor, the sorceress in her like falcon form. It's her story of her trying to like, through magic and sorcery, she's trying to like manipulate Adam and get him back to the sword, the power sword, so it will break free of Skeletor's magic and he can become He-Man again. Then volume 3 is where things get really good, because this is where Hordak and the invasion of the Horde begins. And the invasion of the Horde is led by his top force captain, his right-hand person, Despara. That's her right there on the front cover. I wonder who Despara turns out to be. Spoiler alert, it's Princess Adora, otherwise known as She-Ra. And in this book, she finds out that she was Princess Adora. She was kidnapped by Hordak. She leaves Hordak at the end of this book, but she doesn't exactly join He-Man just yet. So there's a volume 4 and I believe a volume 5 that finishes out this story, and then of course after this you go into Eternity War. What I liked about this series, they definitely understand that the main He-Man and the Masters of the Universe audience that they should be catering to are adults now, and they do not shy away from violence. People are they're hurting and beating the shit out of and killing each other a lot in this. And then the villains are not, they're definitely trying to kill He-Man. He-Man definitely kills some villains. minor villains, like henchmen type people. Like, they're not going to kill off any seriously well-known characters, even if they are bad guys. It's just not what they're going to do. You can see right here, this specific image. This is shortly after he got the Power Sword back and he became He-Man again. And he shows up at Evelyn's front door of her, like, fortress hideout. And you can see he's standing over the body of, like, one of her evil henchmen that he's slain. His sword is covered in blood. They're embracing it. They're like, the audience that really, the true audience, the true He-Man and the Masters of the Universe fans, the one who've been with this since the 80s, they're adults now, and they can handle blood and violence. So that's great. It's not dumbed down exceptionally far for children and childlike minds. So yeah, I liked that. The art is very good. I'm not familiar with any of these comic book artists, but it is really good. Oh, Jeff Johns worked on this one. Wow. I didn't notice that till now. Maybe that's why it's so good. But yeah, the art is fantastic. It definitely fits the He-Man universe. I liked how they did Princess Adora and Despara. I liked how they used her and introduced her. It doesn't match up completely with the 2000X universe, but I've heard, I read a lot of comments and like forum discussions online, and a lot of people were saying like, if you just gotta kind of fudge it a little bit in your brain, and this could be kind of thought of as like an unofficial sequel to the 2000X series, because it goes into Hordak and the invasion of the Horde and She-Ra, and that's where they wanted to go with the third season of the 2000X reboot anyway. So there's that. Things I didn't like. Not much. Pretty much the only thing I really didn't like was I didn't like the revamped design of He-Man with this new harness on his chest. Didn't like that at all. I wish it was just classic He-Man drawn by these great artists, but it's not. You can see another view of him here on this cover. He's got some like chain hanging on his loincloth. The belt is pretty different. You know, it's a close look, but it's not, you know what I mean. And then by the end of it, he unlocks the new power of Grayskull that he needs in order to fight the Horde, and I'm going to show you what that looks like. Come on, where are you at? It's not a bad design, it's just one of those things where I don't mind them giving characters new looks and new costumes. In anything, TV, comics, movie, doesn't matter. What I don't like is when they make these changes like every 2 years. You see them do it a lot in DC Comics with their superheroes. It's like every 2 years, 3 at the most, they make a drastic costume change to the character, and then just by the time where you've kind of learned to embrace it and you're like, okay, this is the look of the character now, they change it again. So if you're going to be like, this is this character's new look, and it's just for this story, in the very next story, he's going to go back to his normal outfit, I'm cool with it. If you change the outfit and it's like, this is the character's new outfit, and this is what they're going to look like for 20 years, I'm cool with it. If you're like, we changed it, we're going to give it 2 years, and then we're going to change it again, that's when I don't like it. But this is what he ends up with by the end of this. And the Power Sword changes its appearance too, which, I don't know. I don't know. It is what it is. I'm not in charge. But I like the series overall. And anyone who's watched the 2000X series and you really wished that you'd have gotten that third season and seen them do Hordak and She-Ra, this is for you. I'm definitely going to find books 4 and 5, pick those up, read them, and then I'm probably going to read Eternity War. I cannot do the 80s Filmation series. I'm sorry. I kind of feel like I'm not a real fan if I don't watch the Filmation 80s series from the 80s, but I can't do it. It's so old and so outdated, and it's not, it'd be like if a couple of years ago, I tried to rewatch Dragon Ball Z, which I loved as a child. And as I'm watching it, I've got this slight feeling of nostalgia within me, but I'm also in my head going, if I had never watched this as a child, and this was the first time I'd watched it, I would be thinking, what the absolute fuck is this ridiculous nonsense? And that's how I look at the Filmation series, because it's just so old, so dated. It's from an era where you had to make things really dumbed down and soft and sweet and sugar coated for kids, and I hate it. I hate it. Like I could deal with the 2000X cartoon. That's a good show. And then this is awesome, where I showed you like the blood's dripping off of his sword. He's He-Man. He's this big superpowered barbarian looking dude, and his main tool weapon thing he carries around is a sword. To sit there and go, he can't use it as a weapon, that's dumb. Don't ever do that again. People who are in charge of making He-Man stuff, don't ever do that again. Just don't. But anyway, good series, highly recommend it if you can find it out there. I looked around for books 4 and 5, and the only place I can find them is online for like $100. So I guess it's a pretty popular series. Or maybe I'm just not looking hard enough. I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that's my take on that. Definitely recommend it. Anybody else who's read this series and can give some feedback, whether positive or negative, if you agree with me, great. If not, still feel free to tell me why you think it's a bad series. I don't care. And yeah, other than that, please check out the Facebook page, like the video, subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.